I think for the most part, girls don't want to mother a guy. They want guys that know themselves, whether it's just emotionally. You don't have to be the richest, the tallest, whatever it is. Confidence goes a long way for a guy.
She didn't build an app, but instead she built a room. Brenda Van was tired of all the swiping, the ghosting, and the endless small talk. So she launched Dating App Suck, where she creates real-life spaces where real connections could actually happen. What started as frustration became a movement, and somewhere along the way, it changed her too. This isn't just about dating, but it's really about what we're all searching for.
0.01 is about the cheat codes in life, right? Because sometimes it's that 0.01% extra that makes a difference. What is a cheat code that you found over the last 10 years?
So always remembering that no matter what happens, whether you're single or in a relationship, you need to be.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of 0.01, where we speak with some of the most amazing individuals we have here in Australia. Today, we have a very special guest, Brenda, on. Brenda is the founder of Dating Apps Suck, so let's dive straight into it. So, Brenda, dating apps suck, right? And I think we both have some experience there with dating apps, but why did you start a real-life dating pool kind of thing?
Okay, honestly, around 4 years ago, I was sitting around with my mates and we were just shit talking about dating apps, our dating lives, how bad it was. And I was like, there's got to be a different alternative to dating apps. And then I just remembered when back in uni, there was you know how, I don't know if you were a part of a lot of it, but uni societies, lots of house parties. And people just organically met other people through them bring their plus ones, through mixing social circles. And I wanted to create that environment again because I was like, it feels more organic if you're meeting someone through a friend or in an offline setting rather than just swiping on dating apps. And I was like, I need to get off dating apps. So at the very least, I can build this up and hopefully other people can find.
Okay. Well, how long were you on dating apps?
Honestly, I'd say collectively 4 years. From
4 years.
19. So I was in two and a half-ish relationships. So collectively probably 3 to 4 years on dating apps through the last 10 years.
Okay. Wait, so how old are you now?
31.
31. Okay. And so since 19, there was dating. When was 19? That was 13 years ago. I'm trying to do the math. 2012?
Yeah.
2012, 2011?
Yeah.
What was back then? What was the dating apps back then? Was it Tinder?
Yes. Tinder was, from memory for me and my friends, the first one. And I personally, I always call it the golden era of dating apps.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when dating apps first came out. And I think people were a bit nervous about it because they're online dating. Oh my God.
Scammers.
Yeah, literally. I'm going to get murdered
scammers.
in someone's basement. But I think a lot of early adopters kind of picked up and they really liked it because it was you could actually meet people that you might have not crossed paths with in real life. So then people liked it a lot and people actually used it for the right purpose.
Yep.
So it was to meet someone, to go on dates and to get married and live happily ever after.
And what about dating apps now? What do you reckon about those?
Toxic, terrible, red flags, unhinged, cheaters, liars. It's riddled with, in between it, there's a lot of great quality people, but in between the muckiness, it's really hard to
What would you reckon is the percentage of finding someone quality?
Oh, it's probably different for girls and guys. I'd say for girls, hopefully it's between one person every 20 swipes.
Okay, that's not.
Hopefully.
It's not too bad. I mean, it depends on your standards and qualities as well, right? I mean, I think dating apps is such an interesting conversation because I've had my fair share of experience on them as well, coming out of a long-term relationship. But also, it was so funny. The other night, I went to an internet cafe, and this internet cafe in particular had, it has a monitor that displays what everyone is on the computer. And I'm looking at League of Legends, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty. And then there's this one square, it just says, currently on Google Chrome, Ashley Madison.
Oh my God.
And I was
wow.
Looking around. I was like,
wait, does it tell you which person it is?
No, it doesn't. So I was looking
Damn
around
it.
and I was like, oh, it's so obvious. It's like that dude in the corner. And I was like, okay, this guy is either cheating on his wife right now or he's scamming people. So I was like, yeah.
Have you watched the doco on when the Ashley Madison leak?
No.
No, it was a really good doco.
Okay, I should watch that.
But it was, it exposed basically the data leak with Ashley Madison and how all these wives were Googling whether their husband's emails and stuff were on that.
God.
Link. Yeah, it was
Imagine
a
that.
big scandal for
That's
Ashley Madison.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize they're still running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it must be a moneymaker for sure. I mean, dating apps churn a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what was it like then for your own relationships? Have you been in a lot of relationships? What's your background in,
Yeah,
space?
so I'm in my 4th long-term relationship.
Oh, you're currently?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. Well,
Actually
congratulations.
thank you. I actually haven't told that publicly. Anyway.
Okay, oh, there we go. First time.
Hard launching on the podcast.
Hard launching on the podcast, guys. We need a picture. I'm going to put up a picture right.
And funnily enough, I'm not even lying, no cap, for all 4 of my long-term relationships, I did not meet on dating apps, even though I've spent collectively 3 to 4 years on dating apps.
Yeah, wow. And so where did you meet this current one? Was it from one of your events or?
A club.
Oh, from a club. Okay. All right. Have I met him? I don't think I have.
Yes.
I have met him?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I brought him to some creator events.
Creative. Oh, okay. So you guys are okay. All right, done. Cool. All right. Now I know who it is. All right, fantastic. All right. Well, congratulations. First off, that's great. But yeah, dating apps. What was your experience like on these apps? Because I'm sure a lot of people listening, they probably have had their experience or they've been on it. I know, a lot of people just get stuck, and I think it's such a psychological game. Where you're just swiping. And I know with girls as well, the second you download an app, it's like, boom, 50 people have liked you. And as a guy, I've heard both sides of the stories. Like some guys have really great experiences.
Yes.
Some guys have horrible experiences. But yeah, what was your experience like?
I would say in comparison, because I've heard so many girlfriends talk about their experiences too, I would consider myself slightly one of the more lucky ones.
Okay.
Because I've met some decent people off it, and I've also had some horror stories.
Oh, okay.
So
We'll dive into those. We'll dive into those.
Yeah. And so overall, I think, so I think probably anyone that's been on dating apps for the most part would have been ghosted, lied to, stood up, kind of give or take once.
Oh, have you been stood up?
Ish. It's kind of like, so we planned to meet up, and on the day I was like, hey, are we still meeting up? And then nothing. So I was like, I had gotten ready.
So you had it.
Luckily, I hadn't left the house.
Yes, lucky you had the backup. All right, guys. I think that's a hot tip. If you're ever going to go out on a date with a random internet stranger, make sure you confirm it in the morning or the day before, right?
Yeah. But otherwise, so I had a mixed experience.
Okay. What drew you to dating apps, I guess, after, when did you start? Was it after like your first heartbreak, or was it like?
No, because I think I'm a very, like, when something new comes out, in whatever form, not just dating, I'm curious to try it.
Okay.
And when dating apps first came out, I was like, honestly, first year uni, so I had no problem meeting new people because I was very social at the time.
Wait, did you already have a boyfriend at that stage, prior, before, after? Like, when was your first boyfriend?
Like year 9?
Oh, year 9? Oh, okay.
No, but like, that was like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and we like held hands
that's
in like
Oh my
the
God,
courtyard.
you're dating. Oh my God. Got a boyfriend. Did you go to a co-ed school? Or,
Co-ed school.
Okay. So it's a little bit easier.
Yeah. But I'd say like serious relationship wise, when I first got onto dating apps in uni, it was before my first relationship. Yeah.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so and then you met your first boyfriend. Was it through uni or no?
Through a friend in uni.
Okay, well there you go. What do you kind of look for then when you look for a partner?
I like someone that, okay, maybe it sounds wanky, but that can keep me intellectually stimulated. And that doesn't just mean intelligence.
Yep.
It's wittiness and humor as well. So if they can make me laugh, if they can keep engaged in conversation, if they can keep up with my pace of lifestyle, stimulated.
Okay, well, I mean, hot tips for the guys out there. I think that's what most girls want as well, right? They don't want some boring guy. They want someone that has a bit of fun.
Interesting. Be a bit interesting.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a quirky interest, be interesting.
I mean, just think about how many girls watch K-dramas. Right? I mean, like, they watch K-dramas for a reason. Not for the guys, but it keeps them stimulated. Like, if you're a dude, you got to keep the girl stimulated. I think it's fair. Okay, so dating apps. What about your horror stories on there? What have you had?
Oh, okay. I don't know if you were in a relationship or single during this time, but a lot of people during the pandemic tried a little bit of like virtual dating.
Yep.
So we're locked, like in Melbourne in particular.
Yeah,
we were locked down
Melbourne,
for
you guys
3
were
years.
so locked down. So was that 2019, 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd matched with this guy on Coffee Meets Bagel.
Okay. I don't like that app, by the way. So
Oh,
shit app.
there's a story there, I feel. Is it?
Sorry, Coffee Meets Bagel, but I know you guys are Asian founders, but still, I don't like it.
Well, it gave me the one
One good one.
story.
Oh,
No,
one
horror
bad
story.
one.
So
Okay,
I was
see,
like,
I told you
I
guys.
stand with you.
Yeah. CMB guys, come on. Okay, the bad story.
Yeah, so I matched with this guy who was like kind like the right mix of like interesting, hot, and nerdy. So I was like, okay, perfect. So we were like talking, and then eventually when we had like a lockdown there for a couple of weeks. We went on our first date, and I was like so wowed by him. And then he's like, great, let's have a second date. I was like, great. We kept talking every day, blah blah blah. And then we teed up the second date, and this was still, I think, lockdown had lifted for these few weeks. I'd once again like gotten ready, and then I had messaged him. I was like, hey, like, are we still meeting up? Nothing. And he had messaged me the night before to confirm, hey, we're still meeting this time.
So
blah,
everything's
blah.
green flag so far.
Yep, green flag, absolute green flag. And then day of, I was like, nothing. And I was like, is he like dead in a ditch somewhere? But yeah, so I was like very disappointed by that.
Wow. So he just literally just ghosted, up and gone.
Yeah, we talked for like 2-3 weeks, I think every day.
Yeah. I think he probably had more conversations going on.
Yep.
And that's
that's just the truth of dating apps.
Exactly. And that's just dating apps in general. I think it's yeah, I mean it's like I see dating apps as kind of like a sales funnel, you know what I mean? You have to have your prospecting, you have to have your qualified, and then you have the conversations, and then you're building rapport, and then some end up on a date, some don't end up on a date, and it's like it filters down.
Yeah, I liken it to a lot. It's kind of weird, but the job application process.
Yeah.
So you're literally
Interview
like
one, interview two.
blasting out applications.
Yeah.
Then you get maybe like 2 interviews, and then you hopefully get a job. Right?
Well, how's it like on Coffee Meets Bagel? Because that app, for those who haven't used it, it's a female first platform, right?
Female founded, yep.
Yeah, female founded and also female first. Like guys cannot initiate conversation. From
No,
memory?
they can.
Can we?
They can. Well, so it's still same model where you still have to both swipe and match with each other.
Yeah.
But I think their angle, specifically what they focus on, is limiting the matches.
Right,
So other
right.
platforms have like, you can match to 100 and then you hit cap. But I think they try to limit you to like 5 a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they'll give you like 20 and then you choose 5, for example, like that. Yeah. That's so interesting. What other apps are you on?
I've tried them all. So Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, CMB.
Yeah, those are the main ones.
Yes, and then lately, I'd say there's heaps of competitor apps popping up, and one that I didn't mind but never tried it properly was called Boo. So it was more. I had a lot of more like EQ spiritual focused friends, and basically Boo, what it has is it adds in different elements of filters, whether it was star signs.
Oh, okay. So
it was star signs,
yep.
Myers-Briggs, like it added in both of those, and then it would match compatibility.
Gotcha. Interesting. So in a general sense, what was it like being a girl on a dating app, right? Because I think obviously a lot of people, I think there's way more guys on dating apps than there are girls.
Yes.
What was your experience like being a girl on a dating app? Did you get more? Do you feel like you got a lot of swipes? Like a lot of people, trying to engage conversations? Did you have all that sort of stuff? How was that for you?
Again, I would consider myself probably one of the more lucky ones. I've heard both sides between like girls' experience on dating apps and guys' experience. And with myself, I wasn't like drowning in matches, but if I wanted to jump on and connect with someone for a first date or whatever it was, like I'd know I had options, literally any day.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, that's really interesting because same thing. I've seen both sides as well. I've seen guys that are just they're absolutely blowing up on their phone, and then I've seen guys who are like, oh, I've been on a dating app for 2 years and I've got like 1 match.
Yeah, I heard it. I don't know if this is an official stat of my friend's one, but on average, depending on what type of guy you are, it could be like 100 swipes and you get 1 match a month.
Yeah, which I feel like that's quite sad. That really, I think that really fucks with some people's psyche. Self-confidence, all that sort of stuff, worthiness. How did you feel from a psychological point of view when you were on the apps?
It felt very transactional.
Okay.
Very, very transactional because one, you're trying to find this connection with someone online after already, sending millions of emails all day, to reply to all your friends all day, and then now trying to like spark up this conversation on dating apps where I was like, hi, how are you? And honestly, it was like the same opening, whether I started or whether they started.
Do you have a copy paster?
It literally,
Copy paste option A today, copy paste option B tomorrow.
Literally, they should automate this. The first part of the conversation, it should be like automated.
That'd be the next AI bot that comes out is dating bots.
Yep, small talk dating bot. But it felt very transactional and it was very exhausting. So I think towards the end of it, like I was like digitally fatigued is how I put it. And then I would need to take like short breaks. Otherwise I would go into the mindset of dating in like already a negative mindset. So, yeah.
Fair enough. I've actually seen girls pop up on dating apps and then they go quiet for a while and then they pop up again, or they disappear and then they pop up again with a new profile, knew everything. And I've probably seen it. I have a pretty good sort of recall and pretty good memory. So I remember I've seen, like, I was on the dating apps. I remember seeing the same girl pop up with different profiles like 3-4 times over a period of like half a year. So I'm like, something happens, right? And then every time you swipe them, they'll still accept, right? Because it just became so interesting to me because it's like, I actually want to know. It's not like I want to go on a date with you anymore. It's like I'm actually curious as to what's going on through your head.
So my assumptions would be two reasons. One is an algorithm purpose reason. So there's tips online where it's like if you delete and recreate your profile, you get served with the matches that you actually want to be served.
Oh, is that how it goes? So
I don't know if it's a myth.
Okay, guys, listen up closely. Dating app hacks, okay? Delete your account, restart, you get hotter guys and hotter girls. That's how it works. Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, that's a little hack where I've been seeing it. Or the other one is the girl is just going through phases. They're sort of like, you know what, fuck this, fuck the apps. And then
she goes
like
off.
3 months later, like, you know what, let's give it one
I'm a
more
bit lonely right now.
one more go.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I've seen that so many times. And what would you say makes well, you've seen both now, right? Offline and online. You've had a lot of success stories as well offline, so I want to talk about those. But when you were on the app side of things, what would you say makes a successful profile versus an unsuccessful one? Like, who would you swipe right with? Is it swipe right? I don't remember anymore. I mean, on Hinge, right. It was like tick and X.
Yeah,
anyway.
left is no. Right
Yeah.
yes.
It's like a tick and an X or left and right. Who would you swipe on? That you what would you look for guys?
Yeah, there is no denying photos is quite important.
Yeah.
Because I think honestly, being real, photos are looked at first before text, and I'm assuming guys and girls are the same.
Okay, yeah.
And you're lying if you say otherwise.
I think definitely for guys, they'll look at the photo first. I think there's no doubt, right? We're very visual. Guys are very visual, right? And
hey, I'm sure there's some out there that are reading the text first.
I'm sure. Maybe they're blind and they need to have braille or something. But yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure most guys will look at visual aspects first.
Yes, but at least from my view, photos wise, I like variety. So it should start with like a clear one of yourself.
So not naked selfies in the mirror, like 5 in a row.
I mean, like the 5th one down, maybe not.
Okay, yeah. Because there's so many, like the guys' profiles. I've seen like, I've taken some of my female friends, I've taken their phones to look at their Hinge and see what they see. And you just see all the guys doing like these.
Oh God, no.
In the mirror. No. They're doing their like topless selfies. Every time I see those, I'm just like, please.
I think they missed the memo because I thought like the stereotypical combination was, I mean, this is common. There's always one of golf. There's always one of fishing. There's
always the fishing photo.
There's like a formula I think guys follow, but don't worry about that. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Look, a clear one of yourself, preferably one with some friends would be good, and one that shows like an interest in your life, like hiking or bowling or whatever it is, like a kind of variety.
Yeah.
Of, like to see who you are. Tell a story.
Tell a story. Yes, very good. I think that is a good tip because. Yeah, I mean, when I review photos or review profiles, it would be the same thing, right? You look at the photos and you kind of see what type of personality this person's portraying. And there's always the ones where the girls don't even show their face. It's like half a face. And I'm like, okay, this girl definitely has some self-confidence issues. You know, you can kind of make a judgment based off that. And then when you start going on dates, sometimes you just do it for the fun, the shits and giggles, right? You go out and you figure out what type of person they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is fascinating because it makes it, I feel like dating apps gamify relationships.
100%.
And it speeds it up to a point where it kind of becomes, especially for this new generation where they're so digital with everything. I feel like everything's just so fast, so superficial. There's no real like deep connection. Did you ever have any real deep connections with any of the guys that you kind of had a talking stage with?
There was connection. I wouldn't say there was deep connection.
Okay, so no DNMs, no like 10-hour conversations on the phone or anything.
Definitely not on apps, but there's been a small handful of guys that I've met from dating apps where we did form a connection, and I did like really enjoy who they are, and they just weren't for me.
Yeah. Did you stay friends with anyone?
No.
So it's 4 years of wastage.
So that was all sunk cost.
Yeah. So 4 years of wasted time. We just write it off. Okay, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Acquaintances though. There's still
still acquaintances.
Yeah,
they just still see them around.
They're
And,
around.
you know, they're probably in relationships now. And
How you doing?
Yeah, cool. Yeah. How's things? How's life? That's so interesting. Fascinating. What about good stories? Have you had any really good dates, really good guys? It just didn't connect somehow.
Yes. I've met some incredible guys that, on the first date would have really great conversations. I'd learn things from them. They would, if there was a point where I had a lower self-esteem during that dating phase or whatever it was. I think they'd pick it up and they'd give me reassurance. I've met some really lovely guys, and and usually if it didn't progress, it's because there was no connection, spark.
Okay, gotcha. And how would you classify that? Like, you've seen so many couples, or you've seen so many people come through your events. How would you define the spark?
For me, okay, I think it's different for everyone.
Okay.
I think for me, if you know, you know. There's a spark or there isn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I've tried with I think I'm generally attracted to you. You tick all my boxes, and I'm like, maybe the spark grows. Personally, for me, the spark doesn't grow. I have it or I don't.
Okay, so let's just say you got the perfect man. Like, he's intelligent, he's funny, he's good looking, he's successful, drives a nice car, he's not stupid with his money. He's got all of it, ticks all the boxes.
Yes.
You like him, great conversation,
Yes.
but you just don't feel.
Yeah. My gut is like, there's like this. I could be happy and
Yeah.
it's fine. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
But it's not great, and I'm okay to keep looking for great.
Okay, wow, there you go. So what made you pick current man?
The spark was instant.
Really?
Yeah.
So you met him and it was just like, bang.
Yeah. A bit drunk the first time I met him. So I'd say,
That helps. A little bit of liquid courage helps. Okay.
But first date, when we actually sat down for a chat,
Yeah.
it was,
It was
I
good.
felt it. First.
Okay, wow. So what would you describe it as? Like butterflies in your gut?
Yeah, butterflies.
Heart
the
rate a bit
date,
faster.
The date didn't end till like we had to like go home. Like we bounced around a few different venues.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Conversation never felt, because I'm the type where it's like if I feel like there's silent pockets or like awkward pockets, I will overcompensate and like fill conversation. It was never like that. It never felt like I had to put in more effort than I did. It never like my jokes weren't forced. We connected on a lot of things.
It wasn't
values.
awkward, like a good joke.
It was like, even if it was a bad joke, I probably liked him so much that
you would just laugh
it was
anyway.
funny.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, yep, this is hilarious. Like,
And everyone was just, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? And I'm sure everyone has that universal experience as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I hope so. Anyway, everyone deserves a good relationship and a good partner. So starting dating apps suck. When did you start it?
in Melbourne 3 years ago, in Sydney 2 years ago.
Melbourne 3 years ago, 2022. So that's about a year after lockdown, right? Oh, a year after COVID kind of finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that like for your first event? What did you do? Like, what was the setup? What was the structure? Like, how did you turn something that was so digital into something that's physical?
Yes. So it's funny because it's like offline Tinder is what a lot of people called it. But I was watching this show. I don't know if you've seen it, Love on the Spectrum.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And there was just the most that show as an overall is very wholesome.
Yep.
But there was this episode where they did speed dating.
Okay.
And I've always known of the concept of speed dating.
Yeah.
It was very...
It's a very traditional
Yes.
even very old school concept.
Yep. So when I first watched it, I was like, man, this is like so old school, so like, oh my God, like people would never do this. There's such a stigma. Well, when I first started it, there was a huge stigma around dating events just being for desperate people.
Oh, yeah,
Desperate,
fair enough,
sad,
fair enough.
lonely people.
Fair enough.
Which is so wrong.
Yeah.
And then when I watched that episode, I thought it was like the flow of how it ran was easy. Like 5 guys turned up, 5 girls turned up. You'd each have a chat for 5 to 10 minutes. You both tick a list of like yes or no. If they both tick yes, it's a match. And I was like, I want to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how the first event went.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people turned up?
So I cap my speed dating events because I tested it by numbers of pairs. More than 16 pairs, too overwhelming. It's too many people. to go on
16 pairs. So we're
dates.
talking 32 people.
Yep.
Yep.
Below 10 pairs is 10 or below is too little to meet because they're like, there's not enough variety. I found the sweet spot sits between 12 to 14 pairs. So I'll cap it every event between 24 to 28 people.
Gotcha. Oh, that's actually good. I think that number is pretty fair. And
Go on 12 days.
you get
or
12
14
chances.
days.
Yeah. 12, 14 chances in a night. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. So that was the first event. The first event was successful off the bat.
Yep, sold out.
Oh, wow. How did that go? So was it just through your personal socials or how did you get people in?
Just socials, to be honest. Social media popped off at the time.
Okay.
And I think since then I've run no ads and it's been word of mouth. It's been social media marketing. I think I should look at ads soon though.
Yeah.
But just word of mouth and social media because I think I had enough of a community on socials at the time that piqued enough interest. And then like one girl would bring a friend and then a guy would bring a friend and that's full.
What was the quality like, right? I know it's probably not the nicest thing to do to consider people as, different qualities or whatever.
Yes.
But if we were being objective and, from a business perspective, it's very objective, and you look at the statistics and the numbers. What would you say the quality was like for the first event? Was it like a lot of very high tier, guys and girls? What kind of came around?
I would say it's quite mixed for the first event because I think the first event was the people that probably most people would want to match with on dating apps didn't want to try a dating event.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Because they're like, there was such a huge stigma around, oh my God, it's like, what if it's weird people only?
Yeah. Like, what if widows show up, and what if they're like, I think for girls, that's a very valid concern as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like I'd say mixed crowd. So I would say it's my early adopters were people that really struggled on dating apps for guys.
Okay.
Like it was like they just cannot engage a conversation on apps. They couldn't flirt properly on apps. And they're like, you know what? But they're a nice guy. So then they'd come and they'd be like, let me shoot my shot at a dating event where, the options are there because they're actually
because they got a bit of in-person charisma versus online charisma. I don't think I could. Yeah, I was horrible at openers. I think online. I think I was just way too much like just too normal. I feel I couldn't do the whole cheesy pickup line and I couldn't.
And I think that's the thing. Like that's exactly right with like online versus offline. Because some people just do way better in person, and I'm shit online. Like I'm so boring.
Yeah. You're done. It's like, hey, how's your day? Good. Okay,
great.
Done.
Busy.
Nice. I'm busy. How about you? Okay.
So I was like, nah, this ain't it. So it was, I'd say the early adopters were more, those that struggled a bit more on dating apps.
And, okay, that's cool. And, I mean, this whole perceived notion, I think girls would definitely relate and vibe to this more. It's quite scary, I would say, for a lot of girls, right? Not so much sure about this new generation coming up, like the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, how they perceive each other. I was actually chatting to my interns about it last week because they're quite young. They're definitely Gen Zs. And they feel like it's a bit more loose, the whole entire generation, they kind of, everything's a little bit faster, more superficial and not as serious. Like, sex is whatever, it's not like a serious thing for them. Yes. And, even just having a high body count at such a young age is also not too much of a concern, which is quite concerning for when we have kids. But I mean, like those traditional values kind of are slowly slipping a little bit, I feel like, because of social media. Yes. Sex is so normal, dating so normal. It's okay to have 10 boyfriends at the age of 18. Like, what was that like with you? And when you started the dating, sort of offline dating, offline speed dating, what was that like when you started getting girls coming through? Were there a lot of concerns? Were they scared?
In terms of their safety?
Safety, quality of guys, like is it going to be creeps? Because, I mean, there are a lot of, like, let's be honest, there are a lot of creepy guys.
Yes. They
just don't know how to interact, not just with girls, but in general.
Yes. So I don't know how I've lucked out with this because I've heard feedback of other dating event providers that the guys that come through are definitely like, you need to be banned because like borderline, like, it's not sexual harassment per se,
Predators.
but like, it's pretty. I've
heard
I've
heard as well. Yep.
But one of the feedback that, and honestly, this is not even cap, but a lot of girls come through and they're like, "Do you have a vetting process?" Because the guys that come through your events are actually really good quality, like in terms of nice, genuine, knows boundaries, knows respect, like. Like I've just been really lucky with that. But obviously the girls that come through, they are very apprehensive because they're, sort of like, it's still guys are guys at the end of the day. Who's a creep, who's not a creep? Yep. And there's only been, honestly, 2 or 3 occasions where I've had to pull a guy aside and be like, hey, you're encroaching on her, like, personal space. Like, you need to, like, and there was feedback from a couple of girls at the event. But other than that, I've had no concerns with the girls.
And do you think that's because you're a female-led dating event, whereas I think a lot of other dating events are led by guys?
Yes.
And I think guys that don't have significantly high EQ or empathy will really struggle to understand, what women's needs are in this sense as well. So I think as a girl, what you've done is, quite helpful. And even then, like guys vetting guys is a lot more relaxed versus a girl vetting guys. It's always girls going, oh my God, is this guy a creep versus a guy going, oh my God, is this girl a creep? Like that rarely happens, right? And I think most guys will agree with me on that. Is most guys won't think, oh my God, is this girl going to, sexually harass me? Is this girl going to, encroach on my personal space? Yes. No guy really thinks about that. That's the honest truth. Yes.
And I think that's why the girls have felt a lot more comfortable, whether just telling me or telling my team. So whilst I don't have an initial vetting process, because we have to give everyone a chance first up, I have a banning process. Okay. And I've definitely have a list of guys banned because honestly, it wasn't even, it didn't even need to reach the point of sexual harassment. But if a couple of girls were like, this one, probably don't invite him back, I would take on that feedback. And I would just shadow ban, so to speak.
Yeah, because you have a lot of people on your wait list, right? What was it? I think last time you said it was 5,000 or something.
Yes, we've just ticked over 5,000, so about 5,100 at the moment.
Wow, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of singles. What's the success rate from your events? Have you seen?
So I always was like, what is my success measure when I first started this? So there's two for me. One would be from events is I call it match rate.
Okay.
So take a speed dating event, for example, it'll be everyone that went, how many people that night got at least one match or more.
Yep.
And for my lesser performing events,
Yep.
I'd say 50 to 60% of people that went got at least one match.
Oh, okay.
And my typical range of higher, better performing events will be 80 to 90%
Wow.
of people that went got at least one match.
What makes it a difference between a 50 and a 90% match rate event? Is it like the type of people, the niche? Do you do like Asian only event? Do you do like nerds only event? Do you do like jocks only event? Have you done stuff like that?
That's probably phase two.
Okay,
Right now,
yeah.
what we segment by is different age groups.
Yep.
I've done a few ethnicity-specific
Okay.
events.
Yep.
Actually, I think that's it. Age is our biggest
Okay.
segment that we go by groups.
Yep.
Honestly, it really just depends on the group of people that night.
Okay.
Like I've actually
Bit
thought
of
like,
luck.
I'd say, look, my 40+ events are a struggle, a
40
bit more
plus.
of a struggle for match rate.
Wow. Well, I mean, fair enough. I mean, 40 plus are either, it's very rare to be single at 40 plus unless it's kind of like divorce or you're just super career
People are
focused.
kind of a bit more picky. They're kind of a bit more selective because they are okay being single.
Yep.
So they're quite picky if they were to.
Do you find these 40 pluses, are they usually just single by choice up until 40 or are they kind of like divorced or failed relationships, failed marriages? What have you found?
Mix of both.
Mix of both. Okay, interesting. Do you kind of see that more people are kind of dating older now, getting married older? Or
Yes.
Oh,
100%. I just think with where we are, and I mean, like people are working 2-3 jobs just
Yep.
to get ends meet kind of thing and focusing on their career a bit more. Women specifically don't mind having kids a bit later, getting married a little later compared to how it was, I'd say, like 10 years ago.
So what's the age brackets that you have?
Usually I run them by like not year per se, but it'll be like early 20s to early 30s or like mid 20s to mid 30s.
And they're in
kind of
the
like 10-year brackets.
Okay, so they're in the same pool. So it's like 25 to 35 year olds.
Yeah,
And
kinda
then,
like that. Yeah.
18 to 25 year olds. Is that how it works? 19 to 25 year olds, something like that.
I think my youngest I've ever run would probably be like 21, 22.
Okay, so
I don't
nothing.
know. I
wrong
think
with-
between that 18 to 21, they're still in uni.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
they're like,
It's a
effort. We don't need.
It's a yeah, and that's also a bit of a risk zone as well because you never know with those nowadays and the way that girls dress nowadays as well. Yeah, it's a bit risky for a lot of things in your liability side of things as well. That's so interesting. Has there been really interesting relation? I think I've seen you posted up before. Did people get married from your event?
Yes. So officially, I have 2 married couples. One
Wow.
about to be engaged.
Wow.
Because he messaged me, he's going to propose to her. And there's officially a baby.
Oh, there's a baby.
There's a dating
Wow.
app suck baby.
So that's what within the last
3
3
years.
years. 3 years. There's a baby. 2 married couples. Well, I guess it works. Do you know what it's like then with in terms of people getting into a couple? Do you have a stat on that?
Not officially. That one I kind
Okay.
of have to rely on people coming back and telling
That's
me,
true.
"Hey,
That's
how did you-"
true.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
unfortunately, I wish I had that. I should.
That'd be a
probably
great.
incentivize
Yeah,
people
that would be a
coming.
great stat.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you get a free date if you come back and tell me.
Exactly. I should really do that.
Yeah. That's cool. That's very interesting because I think relationships is such a big one,
Yeah.
right? What are the sort of red flags that you kind of look for, or you kind of identify, not just for yourself, but for example, at an event? Like you can just kind of see how the guys are engaging, how guys are talking to girls. What are the sort of red flags that you can pick up on?
I'd say red flag is a very subjective one,
Yeah.
only because I probably have a lack of boundaries in a lot
Okay,
of things.
okay,
So I'm
yeah.
like, that's not a red flag.
Yeah.
But other people were like, Brenda, that is a huge red
Yeah,
flag.
yeah. Is that because you're extroverted? I feel like you're super extroverted.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You're pretty.
And to
pretty
be in this space, I think you have to be. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I switch on the energy. like,
Yeah.
particularly. I would have to say, if he is like during the phases where we have breaks and like intros, if he's standing in a corner, not talking to anyone, but not because he hasn't met with people, but more awkwardly just standing in a corner by himself kind of thing. So I'll go over, chat to him, be like, hey, do you want to join the group? And he's like, no, and like just in a corner. I do keep a watch on that because I'm like, are you like just introverted and shy, or are you like creepy?
Yeah, gotcha. Fair enough. Yeah, I think you do notice that a lot with a lot of people as well. So I think it does pay to be aware. What sort of tips would you give to then, let's just say girls and guys, right? Because you see both pools and you'd see a 50-50 split, based on how the events work. What sort of tips would you give girls to when they're looking for guys, and what kind of creates a lot of success for them?
I think it's a little bit of open-mindedness outside of the filters or the preference that you have. And there's deal breaker preferences. Like,
Of course.
it could be ethnicity, it could be religion.
Yep.
But things that are a bit more varied, whether it could be height, whether it could be age.
So the short kings are okay.
Exactly. Love a short king.
Yeah.
Try to be a little bit more open-minded.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a success at the speed dating event overall, I think keeping that open-mindedness shows that you can connect with people that are outside of your preference.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's like the Hongdae guy, right? Are you open-minded?
I've seen that same thing.
Yeah. So good. He's so good. But yeah, it is important. What about for guys? Like, what makes it successful for guys?
Confidence.
Okay.
Um,
That was very fast. That was a very confident confidence. Yeah.
You don't have to be the richest, the tallest, whatever it is. Confidence goes a long way for a guy, and that could be as much as having the confidence to go up and say hi first.
Yep.
Having the confidence to plan a date first and assert, hey, I'll pick you up this time, or would you prefer to meet there? Confidence to lead, I would say, is what girls look for a lot.
That's so interesting. Well, that's a good tip for a lot of guys. I think, especially younger generation, be a gentleman. Have confidence, lead. That's very, very important. That's very fascinating. Have you seen any sort of really bad things happen between couples, and what kind of creates that sort of negative, toxic spiral? Because I think there's a lot of toxic relationships nowadays because of social media and stuff like that. Yeah. What do you kind of notice is the catalyst to that?
I think it's everyone goes into relationships with traumas, with baggage, with history. But it's important to be attempting to work through that on your own or have worked through that. Because if you don't, at least to an extent enough, you'll bring it into your next relationship and you'll project it into your next relationship.
Have you seen that at events? Is it super obvious sometimes because you're obviously observing, right? There's so many dates going on. You're observing, you're walking around, your team's walking around. You would overhear conversations, you'll kind of see it. What sort of things do you kind of notice where you go, oh, fuck, that guy has a little bit of trauma, or that girl has a little bit of trauma, and she's projected it 16 times tonight already,
I think it's not as obvious to pick up just because the dates are so fast.
Yeah, 5 minutes? Is it 5 minutes?
Yeah. They definitely won't have time to get into their traumas, but I've heard feedback that, or afterwards as well, or even sometimes during, this is some feedback I've heard, a lot of talking about exes.
Okay.
Even during the 5 minutes.
So talking about X is a red flag or a green flag, or what is
maybe
it?
not in the first 5 minutes. You bet someone,
Oh, hey, you remind me of my ex. Yeah. Well, see you later. Pass.
Yeah. So I'd say that is one of the things I've heard mentioned.
Gotcha. I think that does make sense, especially in the first 5 minutes. And if you're doing it 14, 15 times a night, it's pretty hectic. What's the sort of from a point of success, people come in, it's 5 minutes. And even if this wasn't speed dating, if you were in the real world, elevator pitch type of thing, you bump into a girl that you feel really attracted to, you bump into a guy you feel really attracted to.
Yeah.
What do you think are the key winners in a 5 minute or a quick, touch-based conversation?
For a guy, I would say give her time to talk about herself. Girls love talking about themselves, and I find it's been more successful if the guy goes in and shares things about himself, but focuses the 5 minutes on knowing more about her, asking about her, and being more engaged with her. Because a lot of the feedback that I'm getting from girls that are on dating apps at the moment that are going on dates, they're like, we asked 100 questions, he asked 0. So just remembering to ask about them as well as talking about yourself, and it could be a nervousness thing where they're just talking about themselves so much, but it makes space to talk about the girl. And for girls wise, I would say go in knowing what you're looking for, and it could be in a question. So for me, I always said, because they're like, oh, what would you do on a speed date? And I would be like, I have a question that gives me a little bit of a sense of what your character is, and it's like, what would you do with your day if money wasn't an issue? Because a lot of people work, right? They work because they have to work. They pay bills.
Yeah.
What would you do with your day if you didn't have to worry about money? And then whatever they say in that is kind of a interesting tell for me.
Gotcha. So it's not like if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Maybe I go too deep, but I'm like, this is the question I want to know.
No, I think that's so important though. I mean, like money is a huge restrictor for a lot of people, and it's a big conversational topic nowadays, especially. I feel like a lot of traditional values, like man being the provider, man being the one that provides like that safety for the woman and all that sort of stuff. Those sort of traditional kind of takes on relationships starting to fade a little bit.
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed as well, but and then the flip side of that is we have men nowadays a little bit more soft. They're a little bit more emotional. They're a little bit more. How can I explain? Like they're not as traditional in terms of values and even in gentlemen like behaviors. They don't have that as much nowadays versus maybe 10 years ago. Or the Gen Ys, right? Like millennials, Gen Ys, they still have a little bit of that. Gen Zs, I barely see that. None of them know how to, change a light bulb. They don't open doors for they don't open doors for girls. They don't walk on the right side of the road. None of that sort of stuff, right? That sort of stuff is very, very traditional. It doesn't exist much anymore. And then the flip side of that now is girls want rich guys. They're gonna be young, successful. They have to have nice watches, all that sort of stuff. Do you see that pop up at events a lot?
Yes, and I think these are a lot of discussions I've had even within my circles a lot recently as well, and like girls talking about their dating experience and what they're looking for. I might not articulate it very well, but basically I think the gender roles has rapidly changed over the last few years in particular, where women kind of found their footing in terms of, their own ability to grow their own careers, their own businesses. Financial independence on a man has decreased rapidly. And I think what guys are used to is being the provider, being the person that you lean on financially. So without that, I think they're not really sure what girls are looking for anymore and where they should be supporting the girl in a sense, right? And I think it's shown up a lot because I think it's impacted guys' self-esteem and their confidence because they're like, okay, but if I'm not your financial provider, what do I do now? And I think there's been not a lot of guidance in that space because what I've seen from a girl's point of view is like, look, I can take care of my bills. I can take care of myself. Great if you can also pay for me and like buy things for me. But at the same time, if you don't have that, then are you interesting? Do you have high EQ? Can you support me emotionally? What else are you adding to my life that isn't a financial sense?
Gotcha. Ooh, very interesting. Yeah, I think I see the two sides very, very clearly, especially when I was going out on a lot of dates. It was very clear. It's either a girl is there because she still likes that traditional side. They want a man to financially support them, but also at the same time they also want the emotional piece. There's always a trade-off. I feel like with a lot of these things, it's very, very difficult to have everything unless you're uber successful yet also incredibly intelligent, but also emotionally intelligent. Like to get all three of those, like that trifecta is financial, emotional, and also intellectual. Like. If you get all three, that's like the holy
God's favorite.
Holy fuck. And you're good looking. Then that's done and dusted. You can do anything, right? That pretty privilege really hits. And then the other side of the spectrum is you have the girls who are like, I'm independent. I don't need no man. It's fine. Like I'm building my career. I make more money than he does. And they're not married till they're like 30, 40, maybe even 50. So I've seen both ends as well. And I think that's so fascinating. Now, in the dating app space, it's a lot easier to tell. I think in person, it's a little bit harder to kind of gauge that. Have you kind of noticed that to be the case as well? Seeing girls and obviously they would come to you for either a lot of advice or some support because you are in charge of these events. What have you kind of noticed with the girls that are coming through? Like how has their mindset kind of evolved or what is that sort of mindset? What's deep dive? Like if there was a guy listening to this podcast right now, what would be not so much secret, but what would be like your take on what these girls are really looking for or wanting nowadays to help some of these guys to potentially land the girl of their dreams?
I think for the most part, girls don't want to mother a guy.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah. And I find a lot of guys, if they haven't become independent themselves, will be looking for that in someone. And that whether that's, just doing things for them as an acts of service kind of thing, it could be from an emotional point of view. They're looking to be mothered, and that's not what girls want. They want guys that know themselves, whether it's just emotionally, can at the very least provide for themselves.
Yep.
know that you need to clean up after yourself. It's honestly, I thought I thought this was the obvious, but apparently it's still the feedback.
I think so. I don't think that's very obvious for a lot of guys. I mean, like if you don't wash your own dishes, you don't do your own laundry, you know, and you're always like relying on your girlfriend or your wife to always do your stuff. I think, you know, if your wife or girlfriend is going to be the mother to your children, they don't want to be your mother too.
Yes,
like, you know, I think that's, to me, it's obvious too.
I thought it was obvious, but apparently it's still the feedback.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. What about on the flip side then? For the girls out there, and I think this is very interesting. I read somewhere once, I don't know how true this statistic is, but like there's that hot girl syndrome, right? Where it's like, you know, you're that hot girl, you know, you're that bombshell babe, but realistically speaking, all the guys are scared of speaking to you. So you don't actually get as much real attention and care and support as much as most people think, because they think you're so hot, you get so much attention, you got like 500,000 followers on Instagram. You know, have you seen that to be true? Like,
yes.
okay.
In terms of like, I've definitely heard of, I don't know how true it is, but like the hotter you are, you actually like people are like, oh my God, she must have so many guys go after her.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But it's actually the reverse.
Okay.
And I've heard like, and TikTok, this is like
Yeah.
TikTok Bible.
Yeah.
But if you're not actually getting approached that much, it might be because you're too hot. Okay, this is, I don't know if I'm feeding the Delulu. But
Okay.
because guys are nervous. Like they're like, oh, she must have so many options.
Of course. And if she's like independent girl, she's decked in jewelry, in their head, they're probably thinking, oh, I can't afford her.
Yeah, correct. So they will, not approach for that.
That is
intimidated.
interesting. Yeah. I like that. I think that's very good. So guys out there, if you're confident, go after the hot girls.
Go for your life.
Absolutely, you should.
If you're genuine, you're great. You've got
Yeah, just don't be a creep. Still be a good guy. Still be a very good guy. But you might not have as much competition chasing the tip of the iceberg versus, you know, everything else.
No, you'd be surprised.
Okay, that's very fascinating. Have you had that at your events?
Look, I think at the very end, we're all humans. And I think we were talking about this before, right before the potty, and I may have this stat wrong, but it's like everyone wants the top 20%. And I'd say more so even for guys. Oh, no, for girls. So girls will apply this sort of like 20-80 rule, but the different to what we talked about, where all girls, at least on dating apps, will go for the top 20% of guys.
Yeah, and I think that's the case because I have seen like, you know, and honestly, like I look at the guys and they don't apply themselves very much. They just, you know, they work in a dead-end job. No offense to them, but like they don't go to the gym, they don't do their hair. And it's not that you need to do that. They're not confident, you know, they have no extracurricular stuff. They're at home playing games all day. And then I overhear them talking, right? And I remember I was at a dinner once, it was so clear because it was like, oh, they're talking. It's like, oh, how's your dating experience? Do you have a girlfriend yet? These guys are like 25, right? 26. And they're like, oh, no, I've been on like Hinge for like 2 years. I've only had one match. And I was sitting next to him. And at that time, I was single. So like on my Hinge, it was like, I had like fucking 100 plus conversations going. And it was like, I don't think it's a matter of whether or not I'm more successful, better looking than you, whatever it is. It's a matter of like, one, it's principle for who you are as a guy, your self-respect for yourself, and also your confidence, right? I didn't really find it too difficult for myself in terms of dating apps and, you know, getting dates or speaking to people. I thought it was quite okay. And I'm not the best looking guy. And at the end of the day, it's more like you go and you communicate based on what you feel about yourself. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. So, yeah, I think it's very interesting. I do know that girls do tend to choose guys based on not so much appearance, but in terms of the value that they can bring to a girl's life, in terms of emotional, in terms of conversational. They like that a lot more. And it's harder to find that on dating apps. But because of what you're saying, like they'll go for the 20% of guys, which is, what does that look like on a dating app, which is very like physical thing. It's whether it's looks, watches, cars, jewelry, whatever. Something that can kind of portray that this person has some success. Yeah. But then again, a lot of people are catfishers. Have you actually, good question. Have you actually had that before? Have you ever been catfished, whether it's height fished or catfished or?
Don't even. Okay, so the rule of thumb for girls on dating apps, and I'm sure this is universal now. And by the way, guys, we're like onto it. Whatever. So, let's take Hinge for an example. It goes by inches, so it's like 5 foot 6 inches.
Yeah. 5'9", 5'10", 5'11".
Always subtract about 2 inches.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the truth.
Okay.
Okay. Guys like to round up by like 2 inches.
Okay.
So look, height fished is like any girl that's been on dating apps has experienced it.
Do you think that's a red flag? Like you're pretty open-minded. You're pretty chill about this sort of stuff. So
Look, I don't think it's a red flag, but it's kind of very obvious.
Yeah,
Like once we
gotcha.
got it. So it's a little, okay, so there's like icks.
yeah, okay, it's an
So it's a little
Yep.
bit of an ick. Like it's not so much that you are shorter, but it's like, bro, you lied about it. Come on.
Correct,
Like I'm 5'6". You're not 5'7". You're shorter than me.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, yeah.
But we love our short kings.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a short king. Just be confident. Just be
Like
confident.
own it. Oh, I know short kings that do so well because they've got the energy. and charisma.
You know how many, like, every time, for example, we're at Scarlet and you see a short guy and he's with like a
Yep.
really hot girl, they always bag him. I've never seen short guys with
Confidence
like,
and charisma.
yeah,
A long way.
literally. That's so interesting. Yeah, I think that's a huge red flag, even for myself. Like, the second you see a girl, for example, lie, and it could be just something because they did it because it's not because they're genuine liars. They did it because there was a self-confidence issue, right? Whether it's like the heavily edited photos. The scariest thing is when you swipe on like a fob girl from China and you rock up and you're like, where is she? And she taps you on the shoulder and you're like, who are you? That's kind of like the scariest experience. And I think it's a universal experience for guys because, I mean, I definitely,
Really?
I think most guys have been on that.
Wow. Yeah, because I don't know if that's an international versus local difference, but at least for me and my circles, we were like, damn, are these photos like accurate? Because we don't want. There's been girls that actually try to put more accurate photos so that you don't get shocked when you
Yeah, that's right.
Because
That's
it's
right.
like, we don't want you to be like, oh my God, like who's like
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah.
I've had,
Okay, that's interesting because, for me, it's like I see the photo and it's like, okay, cool. She's definitely the type that I like. And you rock up and it's like, where are you? Where are you? And because they use a lot of like Meitu, which is like the Chinese app for like Photoshop, kind of like it slims their jaw, tucks their waist, stretches them out. There's a lot of them. And you over time after getting catfish, you kind of learn to tell the difference.
Oh, yeah, no. My worst fear is someone being like, oh my God, you look worse in person. I like you look better in person.
You look better in person
compliment.
is a great compliment. That's the Rizzler line. You go, when you rock up, it's like, oh my God, you look so much better in person than you do online. And they're like,
Dating tip, guys.
Dating tip, yeah. But you have to mean it. Don't be that dickhead that doesn't mean it, right? It has to be legit. Has to be legit. Okay, that's so fascinating. Yeah, so going back to dating apps suck, right? When you first started to now, do you know how many events you've put on?
We're around 70 now.
70 events. That's a lot. So, wow, that's a lot of people coming through. That's over 2,000 people that's come through an event.
And that's we mix it in. So between speed dating, I run a few different types, just to mix it up. Singles mixer is my second type of event, and that's bigger. So just imagine like a massive bar, all full with singles. So you could be like 60 to 100 singles in that bar.
Okay, wow.
Free for all. No
Oh, it's a
structure.
free for all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that means the one with the confidence really does. Actually, that's a good one. If it's a free for all, because it's a single mixer, right? Like a speed dating one's pretty easy because, you're going around and everyone gets a chance.
Yep.
But now we're talking free for all bonanza, right?
Yep.
Like you go in, it's essentially a mock of what real life looks like.
Yep.
So, and everyone there's guaranteed single. I mean, sometimes you might get a cheater in there somewhere. Hopefully not. Hopefully, yeah. Someone's just taken off their wedding ring. But if you have a singles mixer, for example, what are the tips there, right? Let's go for both girls and guys because this is where realistically a person's personality will really shine through in terms of getting them matched up with someone. Because is there actual like a logical flow for you? Because speed dating, because you have like yes or no, like do I want to match with this guy? Yeah.
Structure.
So is there something like that as well for mixers?
Roughly, yes.
Okay.
So the most awkward part of the mixer is the first half an hour. Like
Okay,
you're rocking
everyone's
up,
kinda like-
you're by yourself most of the time.
Yeah.
You're like, who do I talk to?
Yeah.
I put my structure on the first hour pretty heavily.
Okay.
So I'll have icebreaker games. That as you walk
okay.
in, you have things in your hand, you have things you could do, you have things you can ask. And
Oh, that's
play
smart.
with,
Very smart.
So that people don't feel so awkward.
And how did people recognize each other? Is it numbers or names or how does
So I have a little lanyard and you have your name and contact details on there. So you basically, if you're interested in someone, you take a photo of
if
it.
you're not, you just flip it around.
Yep, that's it.
Is that how it goes?
I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's a
some
smart
people
thing to
flip
do. Yeah,
until
keep
they like
it
someone
flip.
and they like
You?
unflip.
There you go. Get the QR code right there. You see my QR code? Yeah.
Yeah. So the start is pretty heavy with icebreakers, and then once everyone's there, I launch into a few break you up into mini groups kind of games, and then I have it mixed. So essentially, it would be like group speed dating is what I would put it. So I mix people up in groups, I mix them, and then once the first hour is done, then the free for all really starts. Because I'm like, I hope within the first hour, someone's caught your eye, a few people have caught your eye, and then with the remaining half of the event, you then go find them, have a chat.
I would love to sit as a bird's eye in one of the events, and just watch and just kind of like see what's going on. Because I can imagine you get like people will kind of gravitate towards the creme de la creme, right? And you know, whether it's like this one girl, she's just always there, and then you just see guys walking
like
through the
6
crowd.
guys around
Yeah,
the
6 guys walking around the crowd. Hey, how's your day? Do you want to get a drink? You know,
Definitely.
have you seen that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it does happen.
Yes.
Okay, cool. What about like on the other end for guys? Do girls gravitate to certain guys? Have you noticed?
A few, yes. But
Okay.
they're less flocky than guys.
Gotcha.
So,
And
the girls like to wait.
Yeah. It must be.
Girls will wait for you to come up. They won't go up to you.
Okay, that's a thing. Have you ever seen girls really be aggressive in their stance? Because I know
Sydney girls are.
Sydney girls are.
Yes. Melbourne girls are a bit more reserved.
Oh, okay, guys. Hot tip. You know, Sydney girls are aggressive, so they'll chase after what they want.
Yes.
Essentially. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I've never really noticed.
It's been
that.
interesting to have the both sides because Melbourne and Sydney dating is very different.
Really, we'll talk about that. But I would love to one day just sit there and just watch the crowd because I think you'll learn so much about human psychology just watching people. You just see the groups and the pods, and you know. Oh, it must be also disappointing for some people though. At the end of the day, like you know, no one comes up to them, or yeah. Have you seen that a lot as well?
Yeah, I would say some guys do come up to me at the end and they're like, "We like your speed dating structure more because it's structured." Because then they get 14 girls to chat to.
Yeah.
With the mixer, it's a bit.
They're a bit scared. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess that's life, right? I mean, if you don't go after what you want, you're never gonna get it. So, applies to dating too. I mean, as much as I want to try to empathize with them, I mean, you have to go after what you want in life. Especially that girl, she's gonna disappear. Some other guy's gonna snatch her up. So it's gonna have to go that way. Okay, so let's flip it now. Sydney versus Melbourne. What's the differences in girls and what's the differences in guys?
Sometimes very controversial when I talk about this.
Which is great. We love that. We want to know. All right, no holds barred, guys. So we're not going to sugarcoat anything. This is
getting cancelled
This is
today.
Sydney versus Melbourne. All right, this is Sydney. So I'm from Sydney. You're from Melbourne. Talk to me. What's the difference?
All right, we'll start with guys. I would say Melbourne guys lean into less of the traditional provider role.
So they're just players. That's what you're saying. She's saying Melbourne guys are just players. They're all fuck boys, guys. Did you hear that? Brenda said that.
No, don't cancel that. I need to move back to Melbourne eventually. But they're very high EQ. And
Okay.
Very emotionally in touch.
Great.
A little bit more than Sydney.
Smooth talkers.
Yes.
Charismatic.
Got
Got a bit more riz. Got a bit more fuckboy vibes going on. Yes, I have noticed that. I have noticed that.
Sydney guys would lean more into that traditional provider mindset. I need to be the financial.
I need to be successful,
Yeah.
career driven.
Superficial side, they think that's what girls want more, which maybe is what girls want more here. But they lean into that more, but probably less in touch with their emotional side.
Yep.
And that's a very blanket statement because some are. But
Yeah. I get that. I understand that. I can see that. I think a lot of my friends are like that. Yeah, a lot of my friends are very traditional in the sense that, if we have a girlfriend, if we have a wife, we're there, we're the rock. We've got to be the ones. We'll eat all the shit so she can have a good life. Like I get that, right?
Yeah.
Melbourne guys, I do know as well because obviously I have a lot of friends in Melbourne too, and they're a lot more. Yeah, it's fun. This is great. She's great. She's a vibe. We go out. It's fun. Like we could pick up girls. That's kind of like the vibe that I get in Sydney. Everyone's so focused on. I think it's just surviving here. It's a lot more expensive, a lot more competitive. People are kind of like in that survival mode. So it's like dating is like, it's important. Relationships are important, but like I gotta pay bills. And it's like I gotta figure this out. I gotta climb the ladder here. Yeah. Interesting. What about girls?
I'd say, and maybe this is why, it says you're a product of your environment. That's for sure. Girls in Melbourne, I would say we look for that high EQ, that really emotionally in touch, that can sort of match us because they're less like the traditional mindset and the provider mindset for guys is valued, but not as valued in Melbourne. Yeah. But emotionally, you need to be on top of your game. And in Sydney, I would say they are looking for that provider.
So it does match. So the girls and guys do match. I mean, it makes sense. But I've heard a lot of Melbourne girls go, Melbourne guys fucking suck. I hate them. I want Sydney guys.
Interstate dating is popping off.
Yeah,
I think that's like, I don't know how to work
But is
that
your
out
man
yet.
Melbourne or Sydney?
He's from Sydney.
But there you go. There you go. Brenda's got herself a traditional man. He pays for all the bills. He looks after her. All right, there you go. See, we've got a problem solved. See, Sydney men are better.
But interestingly, one of the trends I first saw when I first started running dating events here was like, because I had girlfriends that would be keen to fly up just to come hang out with me, but also come host events or participate in events, and vice versa. Because I've got friends in Sydney and Melbourne now that are sometimes just in either state for any reason, and if they catch a dating event because they're single, they'll go to it. And they actually really like mixing. Because I don't know if it's more like the mindset around.
I think it's like different. Yeah, it's like different mindset. It's like not the same old dude who's just trying to riz me and get me in bed. It's like these guys, they want to talk about my future. They want to talk about property and, kids. Yeah, it's different. That's so different. Have you had much success with interstate sort of dating? Like not yourself, but like in terms of like events?
I haven't launched any interstate dating events per se. But I've had
like the guys have to pay for the Melbourne girls to fly up.
A couple guys flew down.
Oh,
so
really?
He met some Melbourne girls at my Sydney event, and they went on
dates.
They flew down to Melbourne for dates.
Ooh, well, there you go. I mean, I think that's a good sign. Hopefully, wow.
Sydney guys really do like Melbourne girls.
Sydney guys, I think Sydney guys love Melbourne girls. Sydney guys love Melbourne girls. I think it's pretty. Yeah, I think everyone that I've talked to, dudes, they love Melbourne girls. I don't know what it is. I feel like Melbourne girls are more chill, they're more fun. Sydney girls are a bit more uptight. Don't quote me on that.
Get cancelled.
I know I'm going to get cancelled. Don't quote me on that. But there's also no denying that. A lot of Sydney girls are very, successful, but they're pretty high strung. Like they're pretty tense sometimes. They don't let loose and have a lot of fun. But I don't mind that. Like I like a boss girl's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think there's more of those in Sydney than there are in Melbourne, from what I know anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed the same with your.
I've noticed similar. Like you said, Sydney survival. Everyone's kind of like has to be.
Everyone's got like 6 jobs and like everyone's got an investment portfolio, 6 jobs, and everyone's trying to get their own property. Like it's just it's fucked. That's the concrete jungle up here. That's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, what's on the future for you in terms of events? Because you got a lot of publicity, right? You ended up on the news quite a few times in the last couple of weeks and months. What were they so interested in?
The nature of, I think they're even on socials, we've caught up. We're like, you know what, dating apps suck. Like we've leaned into that narrative for quite a bit now, but now it's becoming more general news. Dating apps, people are moving away from it. Dating apps are being monetized, so everyone has to have, there's paywalls behind everything.
Yeah, I mean, like you got like premium Tinder profiles and premium Hinge just so you can unlock more people.
Yep. So the narrative is like how dating culture has shifted from online to offline.
Yep.
That's what the news is covering a lot at the moment.
Have you ever paid for dating app?
One time, but this was a feature on Tinder. I think it was Tinder Passport because I was traveling overseas.
Yeah,
I was like, I want to see who's in. I think it was Korea at the time or whatever.
Yeah. Hyundai boy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna try it. So then, I was like, $15, $20 for like a month of Tinder Passport.
Oh, I didn't know you needed to unlock international to do that.
Before you travel.
Okay, so you can't just go to a new country and unlock Tinder. Maybe it's
No. You can if you're in the country, that's fine.
Oh,
but I was still in Australia. So
you wanted to
yes.
pre-do it. Okay, you know what? That's actually very interesting because I think, what app was it? Was it Bumble or was it Hinge? I think it was Hinge actually. You can also set the geographical location of where you wanted the person as well.
Yes.
I met a lot of Melbourne girls looking for Sydney guys on Hinge, and I'm like, oh, if you're in Sydney, cool, we can go, we can go out. But then she's like, oh, no, I'm moving to Sydney in like 2 months. I'm just laying my foundation. I'm like, what the fuck?
My first state event is a Melbourne girl Sydney guy.
Yeah, 100% Melbourne girl Sydney guy. It'll do well. 100% it'll do well. And then everyone connects on Hinge. Dating app suck to dating app online. But yeah, I don't know why. Like, it's so interesting. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not in Sydney till like a month later. I'm like, what do you mean? They're just like, oh, I don't know why that's the first thing you're looking for, but you probably should look for your accommodation first. Unless you're trying to get free accommodation. Yeah, she is prepared. She's prepared. I don't know what the situation there is, but yeah, happens all the time. And same thing with Brizzy girls. Brizzy girls also set Sydney as well, from what I know. I met a couple of Brizzy girls. I met a couple of Melbourne girls on dating apps, and I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I'm like, well, this isn't going to work, but yeah, this is so interesting. I don't know why.
So going back to what's next, there's been a keen request for niching down. So rather than just mixed age group events, they're like, can you run a few more ethnicity specific? Can you run a few more religion specific? A few more interest specific? And also, I might try my hand, and I haven't looked at what that looks like, but move into elements of matchmaking.
What do you mean?
So I've been looking at some matchmaking tools where it's, hey, so there's people that don't want to go to events. They're like, we're really time poor. We're happy to pay a bit more for a premium service, and that is actually being served with maybe some options that would be best fit for them.
Gotcha.
So say
Wednesday, 7 p.m. This restaurant, go rock up. Okay, cool.
So I'm looking into some tools on how to potentially onboard my database and work out. Say our guy's like, you know what, happy to pay you this fee to help me matchmake. Set me up with 3 days, 5 days.
I think I've seen a service like that. I think it's in the US. It's a very premium service, and I think there is definitely value in it. And I would say, yeah, absolutely do it. You're gonna have guys that are potentially senior executives, CEOs. Obviously, the big boss guys, right? Most guys who are time for are the guys that are really like hustling, grinding their careers. Same thing with girls. All the hustling, grinding ones, everyone's super time poor, and that's just life, which is shit. Like you still have to find time to do things in life that matter. Yeah. But yeah, a service like that would be fascinating, and niches would be super cool. I think niches would be super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people want to date people that are kind of similar
Common
to them.
interests,
Yeah.
common values, common.
Like gamers would definitely. Gamers would be a huge one. I reckon.
Really?
I reckon a gamer market for you would.
We should talk about that.
Yeah, gamers, streamers, stuff like that. I think that would be huge because all of them are stuck behind a computer 24/7, right? So.
But then, do gamer guys would they date gamer girls? Is that what?
Yeah, they would love that. And then I've seen so many setups. Oh my God, her setup, my setup, hers is pink, mine's blue, all of that sort of. You know what? Don't host it in real life. Host it in VR or something. Host it in a game. Host it in Minecraft, all right? And then let them date in Minecraft. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. I think gamers, sports people, business people, entrepreneurial dating. Ooh, that'll be a big one. Entrepreneurial dating is a huge one. Because
but then wouldn't they? Then my mindset is like, would they just not have time for each other because they're both so entrepreneur focused?
they just both make money together. That's how it works. And same thing. Like I was doing, because I'm not familiar with events. I've been doing events my whole entire life, and you know that I do events. So a lot of my events that I do would be like networking. And I do like speed networking, right? Same shit, but everyone's speed networking for business owners to business owners.
Yes.
Oh, I can do business together. We can collab. But yours would be like business owners to business owners. Like, oh, you're cute. I'm cute. Let's go on a date. It'd be slightly different.
You know what? I'm gonna try it.
I think entrepreneurs it'll pop off. I reckon it'll pop off. Entrepreneurs, gamers, two niches that I think would definitely pop off. Gamers are just too shy. You have to be like super icebreaker. I don't know, do it at internet cafe or something. But entrepreneurs anywhere, anytime, as long as they can rock up, they will probably rock up. Just have to book like 6 months in advance.
Oh my dear.
But yeah, that would be really cool. What else? What other niches do you think would do well?
Well, look, your bread and butter is your ethnicity one.
Of course.
Asian only events always pop off. And then there's.
Have you just been doing Asian only, or have you been doing like Chinese, Korean, Indian? Like.
Oh, I tried because I was like, how do I be PC about this? But I launched last year, and it actually did really well.
Okay.
Really one of my high performing events as well. South Asian. Dating. Yeah.
Okay. I think that would be. I think that would do well because like even when I was on dating apps, it's like my preferences are always like
East Asian or South Asian.
East Asian, yeah, that's right. It was always East Asian. It was always like between X age bracket. It was between like X height and like that was it. Like I was very strict on my parameters because I knew what I wanted.
Yeah, and I found like more and more people are niching down. So the more specific you can get, they're like, oh, this is for me.
You know what? You should start doing like a dating show kind of vibe. It's like just have people's stats numbers without what they look like, put them behind a curtain.
Oh my God!
Get a guy to come and pick one, or get a girl to come and pick one.
Yeah.
And then just flip it.
So funnily enough, I did not an official dating show. It's something I would love to do at some point as well. Is we did one at a festival in Melbourne end of last year, and it was kind of like a blind bachelorette kind of vibe. So it was like I had 4 girls sitting on stage. They were blindfolded, and then I had 4 or 5 guys answer questions that these girls were asking. And then the girls would be like, okay, I pick number 1 or I pick number 3. And then they'd give their rose to the guy at the end and then blindfolds come off. So.
And how did that go?
It was good. I don't know whether it went to dates, but it was a really fun experience.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I think it's definitely fun, whether it ends up on successful dates. That's why I don't know, like these shows like maths and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just not sure. I mean, it started off as a social experiment, right? Or psychological experiment, but I just don't know.
I think same with dating shows, my same thing was like there was a golden era for like honestly first 1 or 2 seasons is always the golden era
Of course,
dating show.
of course.
But once it picks up, influencers come on because they're like, oh, I'm
publicity, free publicity.
Yes.
I can be famous overnight. Yeah.
But when it like the dating show is small and no one really knows about it, that's when you're still getting people that are like, oh, I actually
Genuine.
need someone.
Yeah, like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and stuff like that.
Season 1.
Yeah, season 1. Now it's like season 5,000.
Now it's like, oh, who are the influencer wannabes?
Yeah. Who's this business owner that's promoting his business on the show now? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. He's like, I fully get that. Yeah. That's such an interesting. What would be your tips then? Because, you see a lot of these guys. What would be your tips then for a guy and a girl? I mean, we want to talk about both, right? But then someone's going to be like, oh my God, gender fluid, this and that. Okay, we're going to talk guys and girls for now. Whatever other gender you want to be. Optional down the line. But guys and girls, right, let's talk guys. What would you say some things that a person in general should do to help them increase their chances of success? Like 3 things that they should do to increase their chances of success with, like, in one of these physical events. Because meeting people, like I met my partner physically, you met your partner physically. We've both been on apps. I was on apps for maybe close to 2 years. And you as well 4 years. What would be something that a person can do to allow them to have their best chance of, one, a really good first impression, but also like just in terms of actually engaging someone and then proceeding to actually communicate and go into talking stage.
Yeah. No denying, like I said, with dating apps, in-person events is the same. Visual is important.
Yeah.
As long as you looked kept together.
So no trackies? No trackies?
Preferably not.
Okay.
Like smart
What
casual
if they're
is
Gucci
fine.
trackies?
Well, that's different. If you're flexing your Gucci trackies, that's all good. But look, hair done, a little bit of makeup if you're a girl, or guys, doesn't matter. And like dressing what you feel comfortable, but like minimum smart casual. Because like you're still, think of it like how would you dress on a first date kind of thing. Come to an event already like that. Yeah.
Have you seen that, like in your events? Have you seen people dress underdressed, overdressed? Have you seen someone rock up in a tux, someone rock up in thongs?
Oh, heaps of people come in suits, but like
Is that because
more
of
they can
work?
Yeah,
Like post work, yeah.
Yeah, but then sometimes I'm like, girls love a guy in a suit, so I don't know if that does better for them because they're overdressed or.
Oh my God, you got to start tracking all these stats, and then you can write a book, the ultimate hack to picking up girls and guys.
Yeah, look, a suit just adds a different layer to it.
Okay.
But I'm like,
Are you a fan of suit guys or no?
not the whole formal everything in ties button up.
Okay.
But like we love a
Casual
good relaxed chino dress shirt. Like,
okay, yeah.
you look. Where are you going? Like you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
important business to do.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so we're like a nicely dressed guy. So visual is 1, and 2. Look, it may be day dependent, but attitude is definitely one of them.
Okay.
If you're looking like you're miserable that day, or you don't want to talk to anyone, no one's gonna come up to you.
Yeah.
So have like an open-ish kind of attitude.
So perma smile.
Yeah, like smile preferably.
Yeah.
Look like you want someone to approach you, not like you want someone to leave you alone.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
attitude. So that plays into like body language as
Yep.
well. And then 3rd, have some talking points. Like, what are the things that you do on your days off? Like, what hobbies are you into? What do you like read? What do you read about? Like things that, you can engage them in conversation and see if there's like common ground.
That's good. What sort of like, actually diving down into that sort of side of things, what would you say are some good questions that you like being asked? Besides obviously like, if you had infinite money, what would you do on a day? Like what else?
I like people asking why I do things. It's not just business, but it's like, well, why did you drink this cup of water?
Yeah.
Why do you not drink this cup of water? I don't drink water much, so I don't. Yeah, so
Maybe
it's
you
like,
should drink some water.
thank you. But it's because it shows a curiosity in me.
Gotcha.
Like they're actually trying to understand who I am.
Yeah. So be interested, not interesting, right? I mean, as it goes back to. So yeah, hot tips. All right. Well, I mean, that's cool. I wanted to dive down as well. I told you before we got on the potty that I wanted to dive deep, like psychologically for yourself.
Love this.
This will probably be our final chapter before we wrap up for today. So I want to go back all the way to young Brenda. Like you have a business now in the relationship world. You're also hustling as well. So you work a full-time job too. Yes. So you are also that boss lady, right? So boss lady plus fun lady plus, you're living life, you're doing what you want, and you've got a great relationship now. So everything's going well. But prior to that, What was that life like for you? Why did you want to go into the relationship business? Was it because of heartbreak? Was it because you genuinely hated dating apps and you're just like, I want a good guy?
Yeah.
What was it?
So I've talked about this sometimes online. I was a bit more active in this space about it. I've been in therapy for 4 to 5 years now. Usually kind of on and off, maybe between every 4 to 6 weeks I'll have a session. I call it like my maintenance sessions. Because I feel like when I first started, my self-esteem wasn't at the point that I am now. A lot of my talking points in those sessions was about relationships. And that's when I first started learning about attachment styles.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's a good one. I think a lot of people won't know what attachment styles are.
No. And there's so many layers to it, but your 3 main attachment styles is anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and secure attachment.
Correct.
And a lot of the behaviors that I was bringing into relationships, it was causing tension in my relationships, it was causing fights in my relationships. It probably led to the breakdown of my first relationship.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things I didn't understand about why I was that way. And I was just like, oh my God, like I can't hold down a relationship, or I'm not good at dating, or whatever.
So that was the self-esteem side of things.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And there was like some insecurity there. So it wasn't until when I went to therapy that I really understood why I was acting the way that I was. I was insecure in the way that I was. And then when I knew what the problem was, I started working on changing that. And that's sort of what I mean by at the start of the potty, where I was like, everyone comes in with trauma and baggage from their childhood, which I'll get into in a sec. But knowing yourself helps you work through it, or at least understand it and be able to explain it.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I've like crashed out about something, I'm like, hey, it might be because of this. And then your partner's like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll be more conscious of that next time. It really helps in a relationship.
I agree.
To understand yourself.
I agree. And I think it's very, very important. I think same thing. Every time you get into a new relationship, you got to remember this is a whole entire person. And the older you get, the more baggage, the more experience that you have to, pull back and unwind. And if you don't have time to do that, or you don't have the emotional intelligence to do that, then it's going to be a rough journey, I think, just in general. But you have to be able to sit with your partner and kind of really dive into that and help support them through it. We're not in a position where we should be judging our partners, especially if you really love them. So I absolutely agree with you. What is your attachment style?
It was very heavily anxious.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about now?
I would say, and it's a testament to my partner as well, mostly secure.
Ooh.
With anxious creeping in.
Okay, of course. And it's very hard as well, right? Because it's obviously based on a lot of trauma. So where do you think that trauma stemmed from? Was it from your first relationship, or did you see failed relationships? Where did that come from?
So I think typically for a lot of people, their attachment styles is formed well before their like teen years. Honestly, it's in childhood, which is what therapy told me.
Of course. Like before 7, you're very,
Yeah, it's very formed in, are your parents absent? Do they love
okay.
you? Do they talk about feelings? Do they not talk about feelings? I think even what level of sibling you are. Like I'm an eldest Asian daughter as well.
How many siblings do you have?
One younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah. And the pressure you get from like immigrant families, and also the needing to be like the English speaking person in the family. There's all these different family dynamics that start very early on that helps you form not only your character but also your attachment style.
Right.
So I think a lot of my early childhood years was around not just people pleasing but keeping the peace for like my family. So if like my parents were fighting, like it would cause a lot of like, oh my God, like as a child I was like, oh my God, why is this happening? Maybe I can try keep the peace. And that kind of just built up who my character was. So I was constantly being like, let me just keep the peace everywhere in my life. Like if someone's kind of upset, let me fix it. And that sort of really made me lean into anxious attachment.
So you became like a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Right. And what's your background?
Vietnamese.
Oh, so Viet. Okay. So, and what about your parents' relationship? Did they have a strong relationship growing up, or was it kind of like up and down like all Asian families are?
Definitely up and down and slightly dysfunctional. Like
okay,
Asian.
like majority of Asian families,
married.
very dysfunctional.
Yes.
Yeah, for people who are watching, listening, I think they don't know. Like if you're not from like a Chinese or Vietnamese or a Southeast Asian kind of background, a lot of families from Asia are quite dysfunctional. I would say a large proportion of them. Yeah. There's always a meme and joke about like, oh, your parents never say I love you, right? Like they'll never tell you you're doing good and stuff like that. And I think that's very true for a lot of families, households, Filipino, Chinese, Malaysian, Singaporean, Korean, even like Vietnamese, especially. Like it happens, and so parents fight. They fight really bad, but paper-wise, they're still married. They still live in the same household. They fucking hate each other sometimes, but they're still in the same household.
Yeah.
Yet they'll still hold hands sometimes. Yet they'll fucking want to kill each other sometimes. Like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think with that, you really don't, from an early point in your life, don't learn the skills around communication, problem solving, how do you approach conflict, and which are essential skills to have in a relationship, because relationship is two people just talking back and forth.
Correct.
So if you don't have those, it leads to very tumultuous relationships in your future relationships. And I think seeing that and seeing what my first relationship was and sort of who I was at the time, I was like, I want to kind of fix and better myself for my relationships moving forward. And that's when therapy really helps me understand, and also help me build up the tools that I didn't have, growing up in an Asian household.
Gotcha. So what do you think was the key cause of your trauma, and how did that kind of impact your first couple of relationships?
It was seeing how toxic relationships were, because I was like, oh my God, if this is what it looks like, I don't want one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
How bad did it get? Without diving too deep in it, how bad do you reckon it got for you to imprint like that? So
Nothing
deeply?
physical,
Yep.
but it was like screaming. Dad or mum would leave the house for a day or two. They would bring me as a 5-year-old into the fight and be like, look at what your mother's doing, look at what your father's doing. And it was a very you should not be doing that to a child. Not at all, especially when they're at that point of character development in their life. And I think from that, I was very fearful of, two things happened, very fearful of relationships. I was like, oh my God, is this how my future will be? This is, I don't want this. And two, I became very distant from my parents from my teen years to around my early 20s, where I was like, if I have a partner, they will become my world. So I became codependent because of that, because I was like, well, this is how bad family is. I don't really want to be around this. I'll make my partner my world, which became also a bad thing. Because
correct. Being codependent
yes.
is also very, very dangerous.
Yes.
And so did you find that was the case for your first relationship? Because you would have been, that was your first relationship, head over heels, fully in love, butterflies in your stomach, and then they become the center of your universe. So how was that first relationship?
Exactly that. I made him my whole world, but in a lucky sense where he was a great person too. So I didn't put my time and energy and effort in the wrong person. But from the point of 18, 19, or when did I date him? 19, 20, I kind of had no idea who I was. I knew who I was in a relationship, but I didn't know who I was. So when I left that relationship, I was like, I don't know how to be single.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who I was at all.
How did that fracture? What happened in terms of that breakdown?
That one, I would say you can tell from everything I do and the pace of lifestyle that I live that I do need someone that can kind of keep up with me. They don't have to do the same thing as me.
Were you always like this, extroverted, energy, high energy, loves going out, events, people, all of that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So I definitely needed someone to keep up with me, both they don't need to do more than what I do, but I would need to respect them in their field of work, in their character, all that stuff. And I think over time, I sort of outpaced him in what I was doing, in my career-wise, in my dreams and goals. And I think he was in a different place in his life.
Yep.
So I kind of slowly lost respect, and then the love kind of fell.
Yep. And I think that's the case. I hear this all the time. And I think this is probably one of the most common issues is when a girl starts losing respect for their man, is when you really start to see a downturn in a relationship, and you'll feel like there's more fights, there's more, cold moments between each other. I think it's just very, very clear and obvious. Probably not so much at the very beginning, but you will notice. For guys especially, if you need a tip in terms of how to please your wife, definitely don't have her lose respect for you. So, if there's a way and there's a reason why she loves you, and you start doing the opposite, that's probably a key reason for why she's losing respect for you. And, I'm not a relationship psychologist or anything like that, but just over my own personal relationships and seeing friends and seeing marriage breakdowns between friends. I think that's all it is, right? A girl always wants to have respect. She wants to feel heard. She wants to feel loved. And a lot of guys, I think they get too caught up either with their own issues, which we all have, or they're too caught up professionally, which a lot of guys all have as well. So it's all an ego thing, I think. So how did that lead into relationships 2 and 3 then? Were those were they bad? Were they good? Long, short?
I think the relationship 2 was a little, how that fell apart was probably more on my fault.
Okay.
It was still a fair bit of insecurities that I hadn't worked through. I hadn't fully, and this was pre-therapy.
Yeah.
I hadn't learnt the tools that I probably should.
Was this pre-COVID as well?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hadn't learnt how to be a good partner.
Yeah.
So over time, I think there was like the pressure of like things that I hadn't worked through.
So
that
this
weighed
was like
on
the trauma
relationship.
Brenda, like the
Yes.
the PTSD Brenda.
Yes.
Okay,
That
so,
really weighed on the relationship.
right. So he got that version.
Yes.
Yeah. Oops.
In hindsight, yeah, I'm sorry.
And then did that carry on to relationship 3?
So I had like I'd call it like a half relationship.
Okay.
Ish.
Oh, a
He
situationship.
No, he was a boyfriend.
It was a boyfriend. Okay.
He was actually, honestly, that was why I moved to Sydney. So we were doing long distance for a while.
Okay.
And I was like, fuck this, I don't really want to do long distance anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give Sydney a go. So I moved here. But whatever problems we had long distance kind of was the same set of problems in person.
Okay. So it didn't fix the issues.
No.
In fact, it was probably the same or made it worse. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a shorter one. About a year.
Okay.
But it was very
And do you think how much of your progress, like personal progress, did you have at that stage of going to
heaps.
Okay.
Like, because I sense checked it with my therapist. I was like, am I the problem?
Okay.
And then she's like, no, like he's the problem.
Oh, okay. So that one, he was the problem. So you know what? No apologies to
Like,
you.
it was like that half of, yeah. But my current one now,
Yeah.
like I think
Healing.
I've at such a good point in my life where
Yeah.
I've worked through so much.
Yeah.
And him as a person being a secure and my previous actually, I would say not to self-diagnose him, avoidant attachment for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But my current is definitely a secure.
Okay.
And that's that's really helped me
Yeah.
lean into my secure attachment.
Oh, very good, very good. So I think it does help you. One, obviously, need to work on yourself as always with anything in life. You know, if you can't work on yourself, then no one's going to come save you, right? Stop playing the victim and start playing the victor. And also at the same time is if you have a partner that is genuinely there, that can be a very healing tool for you. And I think, you know, it's hard work for the partner. So big props to all the partners out there that are dealing with traumatized girlfriends and boyfriends, that are really having the empathy and love to kind of help them heal from that. It's not easy. It's fucking hard. Incredibly difficult.
100%.
Just being emotionally draining, psychologically draining. But yeah, and it takes a lot of time too. People just might not have the perseverance to have them pull through. But, you know, props to you and your partner now, obviously. It's not easy to challenge yourself psychologically about relationships because it is a very sensitive space for a lot of people. You know, and I think more so for girls than guys. I feel like when girls really get heartbroken, it really breaks them for a lot of the time, and guys deal with it very differently. And that's just a whole nother topic. We'll probably span into another hour on that because that is true, right? Breakups and relationships. Well, and with that being said, like, how did you kind of deal with your heartbreaks? Because whether or not you break up with them or they break up with you, I would assume that it's still quite heartbreaking. I know from a guy I can understand, but from a girl's perspective, what was it like for you?
I liked to numb the feeling of the
Okay.
breakup afterwards, and I did it in two ways. Obviously, drinking and partying was definitely a side of it.
Yeah.
But I threw myself very heavily into work. Like I was like, I don't want a minute alone with my thoughts.
Yeah.
I will just keep working.
And was that immediate for you, or was there kind of like a delayed kind of setting in?
Honestly, once I stopped crying in the first 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it started. I was like,
Okay.
I just want to be busy.
Yeah, bit of delay. That's so interesting. And I think a lot of people will probably feel for that. Like a lot of what we say today, a lot of people will probably relate to in some sense of some way. Provided you've been in a relationship, then yeah, I mean, if you haven't, and you know, I mean, try, I guess, and go to one of Brenda's events. That'll be fun. Yeah. What's the next event for Sydney? Do you have one? Well, actually, it won't matter because we're filming now. But you know, what sort of events do you have planned for Sydney?
I usually do monthly minimum.
monthly.
One in Melbourne,
Okay.
one in Sydney.
Oh, great.
Depending on the demand. Last month was 2, but next up should just be our traditional speed dating again.
Okay.
I found that more.
What sort of venues do you host them at?
Any bar, well, I host them at Neha Bar a lot in the city.
Okay.
And then I've started to branch out into suburb specific. I realized Sydney really likes staying in their suburbs.
We are
so I think
we are very suburban. Like you got to be either west, you got to be inner west, you got to be south, you got to be north. But like
yes. So I
not a
did
very
a
central.
dancing bear in Wentworth Point
Ooh,
last
okay.
month.
Yep.
But now I'm going to probably find another inner west venue
Yep.
and branch into suburb specific.
Okay, cool. I think that's great because Sydney is a very suburban thing. I think that's another difference between Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne go
loves
to the
their-
city.
Yeah, they love their
Sydney
city.
stay in their suburbs.
Yeah, we don't. We like let's go Cabra, let's go Bankstown, or let's go Para.
Yeah.
No one's ever like, hey, you want to go CBD, bro? It's never like that. No.
Yeah,
it's
that's
never.
so
It's never like that. I think you know what you should do. You should do. I actually brought this idea up to another founder. I think what you should do is do like a hobby dating event. So it's like rather than it just being like dating,
Yes.
pull out a weekend for them to go hiking. Pull out a weekend for them to go kayaking.
Yes.
Do stuff like that, whatever.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. But yeah, it'd be quite
I think
interesting.
I need to lean into that a bit more because something that I did try, well, two things. I tried one that did well and one flopped. So the flopped one was Singles Run Club. I thought that would pop off a bit more just because.
But
it's
like
a
you're
trend.
running, it's like, hey, so what do you like? You know,
That's true.
how's
That
your?
was not-
Sorry, my cardio's no good. You know, that's probably what
Yeah,
it's
that
like.
didn't work out too well because there was
yeah.
this whole fad around like run club.
Yeah, there is. There still
But it's
is.
not
there
for
still
singles.
is. Yeah,
It's like,
well,
it's
it's not
just
for
running.
anything. It's literally. I think that's therapy for most people. So they don't want to. They don't want to be like in their worst state, looking like they're all fucked up and sweaty, and they're going, "Hey," and you smell like shit afterwards. Let's go grab brunch, and you smell like shit. It's like,
Yeah, that flopped hard.
yeah. Fair enough.
Singles salsa did well.
Oh yeah, salsa's great.
Yeah,
I was doing
singles
salsa
salsa.
last year. Salsa, yeah.
But yeah, single salsa did really well.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think that would be good. There is a salsa studio like near us somewhere, which do a lot of events. It's like in a community hall.
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah,
I should reach out to them.
yeah. You should reach out to them. I think that'll be a great event because I did 2 levels of salsa there. Yeah, and I can't dance for shit. You know, everyone laughs.
I'm sure you're great.
I can't move. Trust me.
Hey, but
I
that's a
am not
funny
great.
story to talk about.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But you got to do what you got to do to keep your partner happy, right? So, you learn, you sacrifices, and I think that's important as well. You got to give to get, and you got to get to give. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's very important to, I guess, sacrifice in order to help your relationship and to build and grow. I put myself into uncomfortable positions so that I can learn and grow and make my partner happy. And I think that's also important.
Oh, that's another tip. Girls love guys that do focus on developing, and that doesn't mean in every facet, but learn about yourself, develop yourself, grow as a person, because the girls definitely is.
I think that's very important. Well, towards the end of our podcast, I always ask our guests, one, obviously, where do they find you? How did these singles that are listening go to a Dating Apps Suck event? Where do they find you?
Yep, so we're on Insta, we're on TikTok, I've got a website, so type in datingappsuck.com.au or search us up at datingappsuck_ on socials. Couldn't get Dating App Suck, someone stole that already.
That's so
Dating App
bad.
Suck _ is close enough.
Yeah. Close enough. Same, but different. Yeah. So make sure you find Brenda and her team there and go enjoy one of the events. I think there'll be more events coming up in different niches as well. But one thing, this is one of my favorite questions to ask because, I feel like it's a little bit generic, but also not, is 0.01 is about the cheat codes in life, right? Because sometimes it's that 0.01% extra that makes a difference. What is a cheat code that you found over the last 10 years or the last 3-4 years of your business now that you think in this regard is probably relationships, right? So what's a cheat code that you would have found that helps you, usually I would ask, double your success in half the time, but in this situation would be like double the strength of your relationship with half the heartache?
This is a deep question.
It is. Because you've gone through 4.
Yeah. I'd say remembering to put yourself first is one of them because people respect people that make sure that they keep themselves as a priority because you can only prioritize yourself. No one, even if you have the most supportive partner, they still have their own needs and their own interests that will take away from focusing on you. So always remembering that no matter what happens, whether you're single or in a relationship, you need to be okay in both states.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually very powerful. I think a lot of people don't realize that. You don't need to be codependent on your partner to live a good life.
Yes.
And you have to be comfortable in a position where you can be alone. I think one of the hardest things for me post-breakup was going to a restaurant by myself and sitting there and eating food by myself. And then nowadays, it's just, I love that shit. I go there, I put my phone down,
Same.
put some Netflix
Me
on.
too. Oh my God,
Don't
I
talk
love
to me,
eating
don't
alone.
talk to me.
Oh.
I'm good. Give me this is my me
I
time
love
now.
eating
Fuck
alone.
off. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
A lot of people struggle with that.
They
So,
do.
yeah.
It's a big struggle. I think that's a huge test of challenge, like a huge challenge. A huge test is seeing if you can go do things yourself.
Yes.
And the next part is I meet a lot of people, they go to salsa, for example, they're there by themselves. Or they go and they go do activities by themselves. That's the craziest stuff. To be able to be in love with yourself so much that you can actually look after yourself. I think that's so incredibly important, and that's a great cheat code. So hopefully that can help all of you guys. But that's another episode of 0.01, guys. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Brenda, for jumping between Melbourne and Sydney to come here and start some controversy between Sydney and Melbourne. If you guys want to go and attend an event, make sure you go seek it out and join monthly events, right, going on. and follow along. Make sure you look after yourself and your relationships and the people around you. So yeah, enjoy. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye-bye. I hope you have enjoyed that episode of Point 01. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along on all our socials at Point 01 Podcast to watch all of the shorts again. We release an episode every single week, and we hope you will join us as we continue to explore the minds of those who make up the 0.01%. Until next time, keep hustling. I'm your host, Alan Fu. I'll see you on the next episode.